So a question I get a lot about my car is, how do I like it and do I regret getting a Tesla? So stick with me, and I wanted to tell you all about that. I even brought my spooky skeleton along today to help talk about it. Alright, so this is our 2022 Model Y long range, and we've had it for about 4-ish months now, a little bit more. And we have driven 5,323 miles on it. That includes a big road trip up to Acadia National Park, a trip down to Cape May, and just driving all around. And this is our second Tesla. Our first was a 2019 Model 3 standard range. And so the big difference with this one was that we went for the long range so that we would be able to take longer road trips and not have to charge quite as much. And so far that has been fantastic. Our trips up to Acadia, we only had to stop twice on the way, and that was really just to make sure that we had kind of a full battery of power for driving around when we were up there, and didn't have to be stressed out and worried about we were going to get charged while we were there. I have this magnetic car mount from VicSeed, which is a MagSafe car mount, and I've got both the older version and the new upgraded version, which they've said is going to hold even better. So I wanted to quickly get this unboxed and try it out in the car, and then we are actually heading off to the auto body shop to get a quote and some information on fixing the plastic part of the bumper that got messed up when we hit the box on the highway going to the airport a few weeks ago. So you can see here, this is the magnetic little holder part that is going to work with MagSafe. And so if you've got a MagSafe phone or case, it's going to click on there, and that is very, very secure. So that's awesome. That's not going to go anywhere. And if you don't have a MagSafe one, you can actually just get a case that is MagSafe compatible, or they also give you a little set of rings here that are magnetic, and you can just stick in your case, and that'll actually hold it on. So let's see. Alright, so they give you a little card for getting the adhesive off, so you just have these 3M rings that you can use to attach it. And basically the way this is going to work is we're going to attach it right onto the back of the tablet screen and hold the phone there. So we've got the circular pad instructions, and here is the mount itself. So see, it's a nice little adjustable one. You can kind of extend out, turn, pivot, and you can adjust it however you like to have the best readability of your phone, depending on the size. And then, oh, they even give you a nice little microfiber cleaning cloth, which is nice. All right, so good accessories overall in there. All right, so should be a really quick install, but we are going to use, okay, so step one is unscrew this nut. I'm going to put the, put it into the ball joint. Nuts. Push the ball joint into the groove, tighten the nut. And that's going to hold that on here like this. Alright, now we're going to put it into the installation frame, which is this thing, I think. That's the match card. Oh, this thing. piece of cardboard, so make sure you don't throw that out. And basically, we're gonna go fold it up. Gonna stick it on here. Okay. And now okay. Tear off the red sticker, and we're gonna stick it right on the let's see if we can put it on the back. Right, so maybe we put it there. Yeah, then that'll, okay, yeah. So we want it a little bit more. All right, so you can see how it's gonna sort of line up. I'm gonna go right on here. And, okay. So we're gonna take the sticker off. And now it says, press it firmly for 1 minute to fix it. Let it sit for 24 hours to reach the strongest stickiness. Adhesive is disposable. Once it's applied, it cannot be used again, but they give you some additional replacement ones. So, alright, that should be good. And now, we can put our phone right on there. Nice. So you can turn or extend it however you like. Put it in a tiny bit more because we don't need it all the way out there. Yeah, and that's just going to go right there. And that is great for my line of sight while driving. Yeah, very good. All right. Cool, so great job, VicSeed. If you're interested, I will have a link in the description below to get your own and use my code to save on it. And it's not going to cost you any extra, but a little bit of that will actually go back to me to help support the channel and keep making videos like this and try out even more accessories for your Tesla. So if there are any accessories out there that you're particularly interested in and want me to try out and give a review on, let me know so that I can work with them and try to figure it out. All right, so I quite like that phone holder. It's nice and stable and secure. Perfect place to keep your eye on your phone safely while you're driving. Obviously, you don't want to be doing texting and stuff, but if you prefer to use, Waze or Apple Maps or anything other than Tesla's navigation system, it is perfect for that. You can run a cable up to it quite easily. Unfortunately, it doesn't have wireless charging like the mat down below the screen does, but still in a great position to be able to run your cable. So if you are in need of a nice Lightning or USB-C cable, I strongly recommend the ones from Tamai. You'll also find a link down in the description for those two. That's what I've been using every single day. They've got great quality braided cables that are have held up really well, and I've been using all the time. They charge your phone super fast, so that has been great. All right, yeah, so we're gonna go get the car checked out, and while we're driving, I wanted to talk a bit about some of the big questions that I get about having a Tesla and the Model Y in particular, as well as our second one, and what it's like going to an electric vehicle over a more traditional gas one. So I'd say the number one set of questions that I get most often are just around pricing, how much money you save, and whether or not we regret getting it. So first of all, this is our second Tesla. Our first was a 2019 Model 3 standard range. So that was the cheapest one that they had, or that they still have. Gets less range, it's rear-wheel drive only. And it was a great introduction into the world of electric cars. So we got that when we only had the twins, and with 2 kids in the back, it was a good car for getting them around. It was a good car for me commuting, and really did enjoy it, and it made me a total convert to electric vehicles, and I really would never go back now. So a Mustang Mach-E just passed us, and I did get a couple of updates. Definitely do still have a car coming in. It's supposed to get built in the next, let's see, we're in November now, so in the next 3 weeks, and should get some updates around then. So hopefully that'll be coming soon. And I also got updates on our Rivian R1S, which we had ordered back in April, and I have an updated delivery window for now, which just says January through December of 2024. So not the most detailed, but I guess as we get closer, they'll probably be a little bit more specific. The downside is that there have been a lot of videos coming out now. I guess more and more cars are getting out to the press and to people, and so I'm watching all of those and getting so excited about it. It's going to be really hard to wait another year. I guess year and a quarter to almost 2 years at this point. So I hope that they are able to ramp up production even more, and that comes a little bit sooner than they're currently expecting, because I'm really excited for that car. All right, but anyway, back to Tesla. So so this car got us into EVs, or the Model 3 got us into EVs in the first place. We had that car for about 3 years, and then we got this Model Y. So this is a 2022 long range. So it is the newest of the Model Ys that is not a standard range coming out of Texas with the 4680 cells. All of the long range ones, including this one, are still coming out of Fremont. Not some of the newest things that have been updated there, like the structural battery pack and the changes to windshields and things like that, but still very new and updated car. So with this one, we decided to go with the long range, which definitely adds to the price, but I think has been worth it because it just gives you a little bit more confidence in being able to make it places. You don't have to charge it quite as often. We charge at home anyway, and with scheduled charging in particular, it's been great, where we just set it, plug it in, and then it sits and waits until the morning when electricity rates are lower, and basically just make sure that we are charged up before we leave in the morning, even puts on the climate and everything for us. So super convenient and fantastic with that, but having the extra range has made it a little bit easier for us to do some longer road trips, and even just like longer kind of weekend and day trips. So like when we had gone out to visit our friends in the Hamptons before, we'd have to charge along the way. With this, we don't. When we would visit family out in Pennsylvania or out in Brooklyn, we didn't necessarily have to charge, but like we have to make sure we were charged up almost to 100%. Whereas with this, we don't at all, and we don't have to even think about charging. And then on our longer road trips, we can go a little bit further between superchargers, which is great. So when we first ordered this, we actually had a Model 3 that came right beforehand, and the reason for that was that I had initially put the order in on this Y, thinking that we loved our Model 3 so much we wanted to get a little bit bigger when we had our third kid. Decided that it might be nice to have the SUV for being able to do some more like family trips and stuff together. And so we put the deposit down on the Y, and it was several months out, I think almost like 9 or something at that point. So I had a while to kind of sit and think about that, and eventually we decided maybe we didn't really need the Y. We have another SUV that is a 3-row one and a bigger one that we use for family stuff much more often. So it didn't really make sense to have a second car that was also an SUV. So I actually put an order in on the 3 because I thought that I could just change the Y to the 3, but it turned out you can't switch between models, and so we would have lost the deposit on the Y if we canceled that and put in a new one for the 3. So I ended up putting in an order for the 3, keeping the Y, figuring we could always cancel it closer to the delivery date or something like that. Then when gas prices went up so much, we decided, oh, it'd actually be nice to have the SUV over our gas SUV so that we could use this and not pay for gas all the time. And so then we kind of decided we might want to keep the Y. So we ended up taking delivery of both, did some pricing, and kept both of them for about a month before deciding that we were actually going to sell the 3, which we sold to Vroom and made a good amount of profit on. So if you haven't watched that video, I will link to that, and you can see exactly what that experience was like and how much we ended up making off of it, why we decided to do that. But that's how we ended up with this Y. And so one of the big questions that people have for us around this is, was it an impulse purchase or not? And, I think you can tell based off of all of that, it certainly wasn't. There was a lot of thought we put into it. It's a little bit impulse only in that, we knew we wanted to get another EV, and I was actually looking at some of the others out there, like the Mach-E, even some of the Hyundais, ID4, and a few others, just to decide if we might want to do something that wasn't a Tesla. We started looking into that and just saw how long the waits and how much markup there was on a lot of those things. So we decided, well, we like Tesla good enough. Let's just stick with it and get another one to keep things easy. So somewhat impulse in that regard, but honestly, we put a lot of thought into it, and we were planning for months and months and months. It's kind of hard to make an impulse purchase right now on any EV because of the wait times. The other thing is people always ask me, how are you saving money on it? Is it actually paying off in the long term or not? And so now, this being the second car, we kept the 3 for about 3 years, and we're about 4 or 5 months into having this one now. I would say, yes and no, basically, on saving money. So you definitely don't save money on upfront cost of the car. So EVs and Teslas in particular are, and the Model Y long range specifically, are definitely expensive. Especially they have had considerable price increases over the last year or so. And so we were lucky that we put this order in right before several of those increases came. So I think we ended up paying almost $10,000 less for this car than the exact same car would be now. So that was a big benefit from that. Overall, kind of compared to like other cars that are out there and sort of non-EV similar cars, there definitely is a premium that you're paying for this. And so I think people need to be aware of the fact that so you're paying that extra price up front, and you might be recuperating some money over time and saving versus gas, but that upfront cost should factor into things as well. But then in the long term, between gas versus charging and the utter lack of maintenance that you need to do on these, you definitely do save money in the long term there. So, we have now been using this car as our main daily driver for me, for the family on weekends. We've been using it on our road trips. And it's basically completely replaced our use of our big Buick Enclave SUV. That doesn't get horrible gas mileage, but it's still thirsty enough and has a big enough tank that we definitely noticed the increase in gas prices with. So whereas with that, we would have been filling it up and probably paying anywhere from $80 to $100 every week and a half to 2 weeks probably. With this, we're just charging at home, and our electricity is pretty cheap. So I'd have to look at it exactly, but from what I've seen from our electricity rates and how much we're charging it, which is not very often at all, we are probably spending somewhere in the $30 to $50 a month range for electricity on this. So much cheaper, considering that we'd probably be spending $200 to $300 a month on gas if we were using the Buick as much as we've been using this one. So saving a ton there. And then maintenance also. We don't need to ever take this car in for oil changes. There are no scheduled maintenances. The only thing we would ever have to do with this is probably go in and rotate the tires. And with the 3, since we had that for 3 years, we never ended up doing that. I mean, we did have pretty high wear on the tires, and we had to pay for them when we turned the lease in. But that's really not that big of an expense. Of course, we would have had to replace the tires eventually anyway, but and I think you probably end up doing it a little bit more frequently on EVs, just because they are heavier with their battery packs than gas cars are. So it's a little bit more wear on the tires, but all things considered, it's not a significant difference. So so that does help save a lot. Other than that, really all we need to do is probably replace windshield wipers at some point and put more washer fluid in. Really very little maintenance overall on it. So yeah, we are saving a bit in the long term, I'd say, with that. And then the other thing people ask me about is the charging and how difficult that is. So like I said, we are majority-wise, charging at home. So when our house was built, we had them put in a 240 volt NEMA 1450 outlet in the garage just for charging. So that helps charge things quite a bit. But even if we were just doing like trickle charging from a normal 110 outlet, I think we'd probably be fine just based off of the mileage that we go. And I think most people honestly would too. We've only supercharged this car, I think 5 total times now, and that was all on our big trip up to Maine. So really not using that very much. And so because of that balance of things, it is actually way more convenient for us having an electric car than it is for gas. Like, I never have to go to the gas station and sit there and, you know, wait for someone to come and fill it up. I'm just charging overnight without like any input from me or anything, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's cheaper, it just fits into our normal electricity bill, and you know, we really hardly notice at all. And then even when we have had to go to the superchargers, Tesla's network is just so great that it's almost brainless. The integration of the software in the car through the navigation system, which just tells you exactly where to stop and for how long, how many people are there, how long you're gonna have to wait, if at all of that stuff really makes it you know, a total breeze, and really not an inconvenience at all for me. Honestly, like now when I have to go fill up the Buick, that is much more of an inconvenience for me than the charging is. And so last, like, do we regret this car or not? I would say not at all. There are a bunch of things that we don't love about this car, so make sure to watch some of my other review videos from our as we've had the car you know, over the last couple of months, our review of our 3 when we were turning it in. Watch my wife's review from her perspective of the car. Like, there are plenty of things we don't love. The software can be a little bit glitchy. There are certain features that I think have gotten worse, like autopilot when they switched to a vision-only system from radar. And I think, you know, autopilot itself is one where it's great, but like I kind of expect better, and I expect more improvement over time from it than what we've been getting. But outside of those things, it is really fantastic, and I absolutely love this car. I would never consider going back to a gas car, like I said. I think electric is absolutely the way to go, and it is the future, not only because of the you know, environmental reasons, but also because of economics for people, and just like pure fun to drive and convenience factors too. This car is just fantastic. I love driving it. It has a nice sporty feel, and it is a perfect blend between something that can get my family around, to me commuting, to running errands and stuff, to you know, driving around for fun on the weekends and doing big road trips. So I do not regret a single thing about it. If I had to go back and do it again, especially with the price increases on the Model Y right now, I'm not so sure that we would get a Y. I think the additional like $10,000 that it is now, I mean, this is basically just south of a $70,000 car now, which I think is really a lot for kind of what you're getting in here, especially with the minimalism of the interior and lack of some of the features and stuff that you get in a more traditional kind of luxury car. But you know, which I think, you know, comparatively makes the Model 3 especially like a relative steal. So I might do that and just kind of live with the fact that we wouldn't be able to use it for long trips and stuff as a family, but we'd probably still cram all 3 kids in the back of it. We were doing that periodically with the 3 anyway, and I think, you know, we'd probably be able to survive that way. So that's really probably the only change I would make, just because of how much it's increased. You know, if the situation were different and you could actually get any of the other competing EVs right now, I would probably look at Mach-E first and try to get that. I mean, granted, we have one on order anyway, and are going to be getting that and doing comparison, and at the end we're probably going to have to decide if we're keeping that or this. But just because of the reality of things, you know, 9 months or so ago when I was first ordering this, that just was not a possibility at all. So it's kind of a no-brainer that we would do this. You know, there are other competitors out there, and I think, you know, they are catching up faster than Tesla is improving right now, but there's just such a long way to go that Tesla really is the pinnacle right now. And you know, whether you're a fan of the company or a fan of the personalities of the company, which I'm not, this is really just like the way to go right now. And you know, I think it's going to continue to be for a while now. All right, so I just left the auto body shop, and I mean, let's see what they come back with. It didn't really tell me too much there other than saying it wasn't too bad, so that's good. and they're gonna email me all of the information and stuff. But right as I was leaving, they were unloading a Lucid Air off a truck. I couldn't see any damage on it, but I mean, I assumed that it would only be getting unloaded at a body shop if, you know, it had some sort of damage or something. But it looked good. Very interesting statement gold color. Not sure that is for me, but you know, I guess if you're getting a Lucid, you either really want to stand out or you want to completely blend in. So that was cool. Great experience so far. I'll give some updates like once I actually have quotes and we end up doing the work and whatever. But so this is Piotr, I'm not sure how you say it, but P-E-O-T-T-E-R auto body in Summit, New Jersey, which came highly recommended by Tesla. Like even in the app, when you kind of put in what service you need, this was the recommended one, and the ratings and stuff were awesome. Super friendly in there. Guy came out, took a quick look. We were just chatting for a while, and he took like 2 minutes to look at the car, took some pictures and stuff, and so they're gonna send some estimates and stuff. So super easy. But yeah, actually I didn't even realize it's kind of right around the corner from where I picked up the car in the first place. So I think that's actually where I saw a bunch of stuff being done. So they had, you know, the Lucid there, and then I saw 3 other Teslas. They had a giant box for a Model Y lift kit part, I guess, that must have been getting repaired. So it seems like they do, you know, quite a lot of Tesla stuff and specialize in it, which is always good because, you know, I think an important thing is with EVs, you know, and I've noticed this at both dealerships and at you know, places that do work on them. It's so different from what has traditionally been done with ICE cars that you really need the expertise in it because it's an entirely different animal. And so you want someone who is, you know, well versed in EVs to, you know, be taking care of it for you. So, you know, definitely great to see that, and makes me feel more confident and comfortable in what they're doing. Yeah, so we're actually going. Oh, this Wawa is where where a Supercharger is. So let's take a look. Woo, packed today. Middle of a school day. So let's see, this is the Summit charger, and this is one of the most busy times, it says. So 3 stalls open right now. 3 stalls open, yeah. Out of 8, and this is a newer one, 250. Awesome. So looks like everybody's in the Wawa, getting their hoogies. I promise not to. If you subscribe, I promise not to do that voice again. Alright, so, and it looks like we're going to be driving past, are we head past Tesla? I think so. Oh, we can't turn. Oh, get out of here. We should just pull in here, ask them to fill up the car. Hilarious. Alright, so, let's get out of here. Yeah, and so one of the other questions I get a lot is the supercharging really as good as everybody makes it out to be, and is it really worth there go 2 Teslas on a truck, probably heading to the same auto body shop. So the question I always get is the Tesla supercharging network really that great, and is it, you know, enough of an advantage that you should only consider Tesla? And I guess it's another question where I would say, you know, yes and yes, yes to both parts. It is really great, and it is a huge competitive advantage. And if charging matters a lot to you, then I think you absolutely have to consider Tesla, and it should probably be your first choice. But that, you know, it all depends on your specific situation. If you're doing a lot of road trips where you're going to need to charge fast and regularly, and you're going to different places, and you need, you know, charging network that is everywhere and you know, easy to get to, easy to use. You don't have to do a lot of advanced planning, and you can just kind of roll up. Don't have to mess with apps and everything. Just plug in and pay and get charged and charge quickly. Then Tesla is absolutely the one for you. I guess I kind of always compare it to like Apple and the iPhone. If you want like kind of the you know, slightly more simple thing that just, you know, is always going to work, and, you know, maybe you don't get quite as many like customization options, and it's going to cost you a little bit more, you know, an iPhone is for you, and in this case Tesla is for you. So you know, you do pay a little bit more for charging you know, the same amount at a Tesla charger versus other. You win. Versus others, but versus like Electrify America especially. But you know, I mean, that's the situation now, and you never know how it's going to change too. Like, there's a lot of subsidization that's going into these charging networks, because none of them are really profitable right now. It's all just you know, depends on like who's funding it basically. So in the case of Electrify America, you've got you know, basically the government and Volkswagen funding it. In the case of the Tesla ones, you've got Tesla funding it because they know it's going to help them sell more cars. So anyway, I think you know, it is definitely important for that. If you're going to have to charge at DC fast charging regularly because you don't have charging available wherever you live, then I think you should consider Tesla too. But keep in mind that with Tesla, you're not going to get any free supercharging. They got rid of all of those programs. Sounds like there are rumors that they might be bringing back a referral program at some point, but it's not here yet, and doesn't seem like it's going to be imminent. So you will be paying for it, and it is expensive. And it's also not great to be charging your car that way on a super regular basis. So ideally, you can charge at home. If not, you know, definitely look into the availability of level 2 chargers, like public chargers around you, where you are using AC charging, and it's not going to cost as much, and it's slightly better for the car. You can check out PlugShare is the app that I always recommend for that, and see if there are actually some around you that you may not have realized. But if you are going to have to use fast charging a lot, you may actually want to look into a Volkswagen or Hyundai where you are going to get free charging for the first, I think Volkswagen's 3 years, Hyundai's 2 or something like that. Maybe it's kilowatt hours, I don't remember. But you won't have to pay nearly as much for those. And then if you're using Electrify America, you get the member plan, where I think it's only a few dollars a month, and you save over 10 cents a kilowatt hour on charging, which is significant. So you have those options, which can be, you know, quite a bit better as well. You know, those are certainly worth exploring. You know, overall, I'm not a huge fan of companies giving free charging. I think it builds up a bunch of bad habits. It encourages people to go charge when they don't really need to because it's free. It encourages them to use the fast charging infrastructure over the slower level 2 public ones because it's free, and those really should be reserved for people who need it for going longer distances and being on road trips and stuff. But you know, for better or worse, like, that's the current reality, and if that's important to you, like, you should definitely be aware of that and make the best use of it. But outside of that, you know, I think if you're someone who road trips, you know, a couple times a year, but is going to charge at home most of the time, like us, Tesla is definitely a very compelling option for that, because you get all of the benefit of not having to do a whole lot of planning for it and having the flexibility of the network, which does all pay off. So definitely do recommend Tesla for those reasons. And you know, it was a huge factor in us deciding to get another Tesla, and you know, I think it's also going to be a huge factor in us deciding whether or not we're going to keep the Mach-E and how we're going to be able to live within Rivian. All right, so really liking this phone holder so far. Super secure and stable on there with the MagSafe, and also just very easy to take on and off, which is fantastic. I like exactly where the phone is. It's like right line of sight for me, kind of easily glanceable out of the corner of my eye, so that you know, it's actually less of a distraction than it sitting down in the phone holder and buzzing and making noise at me all the time. You know, definitely, I am a person who feels very strongly about not using your phone while you're driving. So I think, you know, this is good to kind of get it at eye line and be able to use like voice commands and stuff and just see what's going on without having to like fumble and look away from the road to you know, get down at it. But I also think, you know, it's important that it stays there and that you're not messing with it and playing with it while it's sitting there. So that's great. And then I also just really like that, you know, it makes it easier for me to take control of the media controls. So, you know, I don't really use the stuff that's built into the car. I don't have a Spotify premium plan. I use Apple Music, so I don't use that in the car. I pretty much just use Bluetooth streaming and the radio sometimes. So putting this on Bluetooth and then having my phone there where I can you know, skip songs and play and pause and stuff just as easily as like using the screen is really nice. So big fan of this. Feels very secure on there. My phone's not bouncing around at all. This 3M part of it feels nice and tight on there. Doesn't feel like it's going to be, you know, falling off or bouncing around or moving around or anything. So really like it. So, you know, thank you again to VicSeed so much for sending this to me and giving me a chance to try it out. If you are interested in getting your own, there are links down below. And I'm actually going to be doing a giveaway of the 2 extra ones of these that I've got. So if you are interested, please leave a comment below. Make sure that you have liked this video and that you are subscribed to the channel. And in the next week or 2, I'll be doing a drawing and picking from there and letting the 2 winners know and getting in contact so that I can send it out to you. So with that, hope you found this interesting. Hope that answers some of the questions that you might have also if you're considering getting into the world of Tesla or other EVs. If you did find it helpful, please do give it a like, as that helps others find this and helps me grow the channel quite a bit. And please do also consider subscribing so that you don't miss a single video. And with that, we are here now at the Tesla approved body shop, and I'll give you some updates on this soon to come as well. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.